Hello, everybody, and welcome to this conversation with Kids Play International. I have two guests with me. Tracy Evans, who is the founder and executive director of Kids Play International, is joining us from Utah. Hi, Tracy.
Hey there, Venus.
Hi. And then we have Lizzie Sager, who is the program director of Kids Play International, and she is joining us from North Carolina. Welcome, Lizzie.
Hello, thank you.
So I believe you ladies have a presentation to share with us. Go ahead and share the presentation with us.
Great. Thank you so much, Vina. It's a true pleasure to be speaking with you today, and we are so honored to have this opportunity and the support from Dining for Women. So we are Kids Play International, a nonprofit organization that promotes gender equity through using less familiar sport and the Olympic values in post-genocide affected countries. Our first program site was established in 2010 in Rwanda, and we launched Cambodia in 2018. Our programs help to empower girls and educate and develop supportive boys, so both genders can find better ways to play, work, and live together in society. We believe that the sports environment is one of the most powerful mediums for reimagining gender norms. As an Olympian, sport has had a profound impact on my life, but I don't really believe I understood the true power of sport until I went on a volunteer trip and saw just how organically, peacefully, and quickly sport can break down these gender, social, and cultural biases, where both girls and boys can better understand how to contribute together and equally in society. Cambodia faces gender inequality issues within many aspects of society, including education, healthcare, and social status. Children living in poverty are at an especially high risk of being trafficked, and children who are not enrolled in school are at an even higher risk. Research has shown that promoting gender equity helps to prevent and heal countries who have been impacted by genocide, because it helps to deconstruct this segregation and promote the integration between girls and boys and men and women, creating a society where all basic human rights are respected. What our programs create is an actual community within a community, where boys and girls can learn and try on and practice new ways of interacting through sport, so that over time we can shift and mold the attitudes and behaviors and rewire a cohort and generation of youth to view gender and the roles of girls and women in Cambodia differently. I'm going to pass this now over to Lizzie to talk more about our program approach and intervention.
So our programs, whether it's for youth only, for girls only, for our parents, or for our community members, all layer upon one another to contribute to our ultimate goal of building better, healthier, and more equitable communities. With Dining for Women's support, we are looking at specifically deepening and expanding the programs that are building women's leadership through sport. Our overall program approach and our individual session structure mirror one another, and the structure is the same for every single program session, whether it's Let's Play Fair, All Girls United, or our Play Fair workshops. The foundation of our approach is to create a strong program culture and invest in training our coaches to be trusting mentors. During each 8-week-long season, we pair a different unfamiliar sport and season theme, and the activities within each program session combine sport drills, games, and scrimmages that draw connections to that season's Play Fair theme: community, contribution, moral courage, opportunity, or respect. We call this intentional learning through sport, and is how we connect our gender equity goals to our sport activities. Reflection through team time is how we transfer what was learned in the sports session to how it applies to life. And finally, we expect everyone who participates in Kids Play to take what they are learning and apply it outside of our program, creating opportunities for practicing or sharing that week's lesson at home, in school, or out in the community. This long-term approach to behavior change takes time, but it is reinforced daily. Dining for Women's funding is going to allow us to deepen our All Girls United, or AGU program, and kickstart our Play Fair inclusion workshops. Our monthly AGU sessions provide 40 girls aged 13 to 18 with a safe space for leadership and skill building as they delve deeper into key issues such as sexual and reproductive health, gender-based violence, and negative gender stereotypes. By holding AGU camps, we will create another avenue for deepening our impact and expanding our reach, creating a space for our Kids Play and 75 non-Kids Play girls over 3 camps to come together, share experiences, and build knowledge, self-awareness, confidence, and peer education skills. We've had incredible success with these camps in Rwanda, from camps around decision-making and understanding body autonomy, to field trips that give girls exposure to higher education and career opportunities beyond their village. One of our Kids Play Rwanda graduates was recently accepted to a women's university that she toured on an AGU camp field trip. The Playfair inclusion workshops will fully equip our 7 female coaches to be facilitators and up to 30 AGU girls to deliver the Fair Play workshops. Beyond providing facilitator skills training and leadership opportunities to women and girls in our program, it will also transfer ownership of KPI programs to them. To expand our reach, these Playfair workshops will be delivered to the 88 men and boys in our program, 50 teachers in our partner schools, and at least 75 parents and community members, indirectly impacting over 2,000 students and community members. These workshops are designed for participants to learn and apply our 5 fair play skills and to create inclusive environments and additionally promote female facilitators as capable leaders. We just wanted to thank Dining for Women for your support and to share a couple of testimonials from kids in our program. After only a year and a half in Cambodia, we've had some incredible stories. I want to share a quote from Tiari. Here at Kids Play International, girls and boys can grow together like a bamboo tree, strong so we can't be broken.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies. So as we get back to our interview screen, I just wanted to ask both of you, because we were having this conversation before we started the recording, that you have been working in post-genocidal communities. It's a very vulnerable community, both in Rwanda and in Cambodia. What can you tell us about the background, the cultural context specific to either of these two countries?
Yeah, so in Rwanda, we've been there for 10 years, and we've really seen with the more recent genocide, the impact that it's had on our coaches and our players, both through direct trauma and through intergenerational trauma. With Cambodia, it's more intergenerational trauma, but because basically an entire real educated class of people were impacted by the genocide, it left a community of working and poorer class that didn't have any room for growth for many years after the genocide. And so it didn't allow for, again, any growth, and they kind of reverted back to these patriarchal structures that really reinforce these gender norms that they haven't really been allowed to get past in more recent years.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like post-genocidal communities don't have a playbook necessarily on how to move forward, but you and your sports are offering a new playbook. So tell us more about how you are doing this with gender norms in Cambodia.
Sure. So as Lizzie talked about, we have these 5 Playfair skills. Those are really our 5 foundational Playfair skills that drive the curriculum throughout all of our programs. What has been really interesting, as we talked about, is that we're trying to have our players take what they're learning inside our program and our local coaches and share it outside the program, and to share these shifts in the way that they think and believe around gender norms. One of the great things that we have seen is a shift. Many of these coaches, first of all, are teachers from our 3 partner schools that we work with. Education is a very, very big part of our program as well. We cover all their education costs to make sure all the kids are staying in school. But what we have seen from our partner schools and the feedback is that the coaches are taking the Playfair skills through all the training we've done with them, and they're starting to apply it within their classrooms. They're creating more gender equitable classrooms. They are teaching in a more learner-centered approach. You know, in both these countries, the teaching is very rote, so it's just repeat style of teaching. And they're creating these classrooms where, you know, there's certain chores that were supposed to be just for girls. We're supposed to, you know, clean the chalkboards, or the boys would sweep the floor. And now our coaches who are the teachers are creating these classrooms where it doesn't matter who you are, you can just let's get the chores done, so to speak. And they're just being able to really create a better connection with the students that they're working with as well. Additionally, we're finding at home that a lot of the moms and dads have come back to us through parent education sessions and said, we really want to learn more about these play fair skills that we're hearing from from our kids that are in your program. We want to be able to make sure we understand them so that we can also help, make these shifts within our homes. So for example, the brothers will help their sisters do the chores that the sisters are supposed to do before they go to school. And the brothers will help them accomplish this so that they both can walk to school together. One, for the safety of the girls, and two, to make sure that they're getting education and they're there just as equally as the boys should be there. So these are two really great ways to see how the gender norms within our program are actually also being shared in the outside community, which is our ultimate purpose, is to be able to make sure that we are creating a more gender equitable community.
Mm-hmm. So are you seeing something changing even at the level of the leadership? We were talking about the principals of the school and maybe even the communities. And is this kind of shifting even upwards, even to the Department of Education, for instance? Is there anything you can share with us about that?
Lizzie, do you want to?
Sure. In Rwanda, they were actually the headmasters came to us, and they were the inspiration for creating the Play Fair Inclusion workshops, because they saw what our teachers were doing in the classroom and said, hey, can you come train all of our teachers? So we started and piloted these workshops in Rwanda almost 2 years ago with 40 teachers in our partner schools there. And even 18 months later, we did follow-up focus group discussions, and those teachers were still using the tools that they learned in the workshop to create that more gender inclusive classroom and to have more student centered learning in the classroom.
One other thing quickly to add to that is we had a U.S. State Department sports diplomacy exchange grant, and for our Rwanda exchange, they actually sent over a person from the Ministry of Education to be able to, over here to Park City, Utah, where we held the exchange, to be able to see how we were doing this coach capacity training over here around education, and to be able to understand how gender equity does impact, the education area focus as well.
Mm-hmm. So I did not want to leave without acknowledging Tracy. You are a former Olympian. You are a female athlete of that stature. We have seen leadership coming even in the United States from our WNBA, about our women's soccer teams, where they are fighting for the rights of everybody and trying to move conversations along. So did you see any of that in the communities you've been working in? Any examples?
Yeah, I think it's kind of relative to where obviously we live. I mean, obviously as Americans, we are extremely fortunate to be able to, as women, have the rights to speak out, use our voices, be leaders. And that's what we're trying to empower the girls through our program and sport, to be able to have those same abilities. I think what is most important to keep in mind is that in order to really have gender equity, you can't just empower girls or women. You have to have that strong advocate male also. And so being able to, I think, as over here, it's like we as female athletes want to use our voice, but it is really important to have men and boys and join us in also being strong advocates on our behalf. And I think that is the exact same parallel that we're trying to do in our programs, is to, yes, empower girls, but to make sure that boys understand why it's important to support and advocate on behalf of girls, because we don't all have the same rights necessarily. So, and at the end of the day, we all do better if we all are on the same equal playing field.
Absolutely. So it takes a village for all of us to move the conversations forward. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us today. And we will see you again for our next month's conversation. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Veena.
Thank you.